For our logo animation, we need a logo. And it's going to be really helpful if you start out by putting your logo into Adobe Illustrator and then separating all the components of your logo onto separate layers. So here, you're going to notice that I have my text on one layer. I have the eyes for the Twitch logo on one layer. I have this white bubble on one layer. I have the white bubble outline on one layer. And I have the app badge itself on one layer. And so my goal here is to have this little character. I'm going to have him masked down onto this purple shape, and I'm going to have that purple shape kind of pop onto the screen, and then I'm going to have our little character kind of slide up into the bubble. It'll be masked onto the bubble, and then I'm going to have his eyes kind of blink, and then I'll have the text animate on. So the way I have all these layers separated, it's going to be really useful and helpful for me and to do that kind of an animation because I need to animate all these components separately. So again, let's have everything on separate layers and let's work very clean. Let's make sure that they're labeled. And this is going to help you inside of After Effects just be organized and be on top of your stuff. And it helps me as a professional to just work faster. So that's smart too. And so with all of our layers separated, let's go to File and let's save our logo. We need to save it somewhere that we know, and we need to save it as a Adobe Illustrator file. So I'm saving mine to the desktop. I'm saving it as an Adobe Illustrator file. And then we're going to open up After Effects. And so once you load After Effects, this is what's going to look like. And then what you're going to need to do, we're going to need to make a composition. Okay, so we're going to start a new composition, and I'm just going to make sure that everything is looking good. I'm going to go ahead and name this logo animation. Okay, and I want mine to be a square, so I'll make it 1080 by 1080. And I always check my frame rate. 24 frames per second, that's pretty standard. That's what I usually use for all my animations. So that's good. And then we can look at our timeline here, duration. So this is 15 minutes long and 10 seconds. That's what mine is set at. We do not need it that long, so I'm gonna make mine just 10 seconds long. And I think this looks good, so I'm gonna hit OK. And now we have a square composition, and this is good. So I will hit Command-I to import, or you can go to File, Import, File, and I'm going to find my logo animation. Here we go, Twitch logo.ai. Okay. And I'm going to import it, and I'm going to select Composition, and because if I just put it in as footage, it's just going to bring it in as like one layer, just like an image. But we want to bring it in as a composition so that it respects our layers. Okay? And footage dimension, layer size, we want it to be what we originally saved it out as. So, okay. And then I think, yeah, so I'm going to double click into our Twitch composition here. And you're going to notice real quick off the bat that my colors look not the same. And so I'm actually glad this happened because this is a really good place to explain this. But in Adobe Illustrator, we can work in two color modes. We can work in CMYK or we can work in RGB. After Effects is RGB based. So let's make sure that we're working in RGB, okay? And then let's save this out. So I'll save it. And I think it might actually auto update. Probably not. So I will go ahead and re-import my file. And what we're going to notice is that the colors are probably going to look more correct. Yeah, so good. And so not only do the colors look better, but you're going to notice that we have our layers in here. We have our app badge. Hold on. Yeah, so we have our app badge, we have our outline. Yeah, so After Effects respected all of our layer stuff. So that's good. That's what we want. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that for each of these layers, I'm going to make sure that our origin point like our anchor is kind of centered. That's just kind of good, kind of just a good way of working. That way when we rotate these objects or we scale them, they're going to scale and rotate about the origin, and the origin is going to be kind of where we want it. So I just usually make sure that everything's centered, and so I'll just kind of go through everything and look at it, and for the most part, everything is looking good. Okay, so just to kind of work clean, I'm going to turn off our text, and let's just focus on this app badge first. That's going to be the first thing I want to kind of be revealed onto in our composition. So we have our anchor point here, and this is our anchor point, this little icon here, and it's in the center, so that's good. And the reason that it's good that it's in the center is that's kind of where it's going to scale from. So if I had this anchor point over here, it's going to scale from that point, and that looks kind of weird. So we want it in the center. So when this animation starts, I don't want anything to be on the screen, right? I want this to kind of start with a blank composition, and then I want everything to kind of be revealed. So in order to do that, this shape, I'm going to set a keyframe for its scale at, let's say, 1 second. And I'm going to set its keyframe here at 100%, okay? That's good. And then I'll go back to 0 seconds, and I'll make this 0. And so now what we've got is we have our app badge scaling up. So that's good. Okay. And here's where we can add like a little bit of visual interest, okay? So in animation and Disney and all those things, there's different types of ways of working. We can do like anticipation, when you pull back and then you can kind of anticipate that something's going to go forward, right? Or we can do something called an overshoot, where like maybe something kind of goes beyond its finishing point and then comes back to its finishing point, right? So it kind of exaggerates it a little bit, and it does an overshoot. So this is what I'm going to show you here is going to be called an overshoot. So rather than having it scale up to 100% here, I'll say let's have it scale up to 105%, okay? And then let's go just maybe like 4 frames forward. So we'll just go 2, 3, 4, okay? And here I want it to be 100, so I'll go 100. And what we're going to notice now is that it kind of has a little bit of style to it. I think we can exaggerate a little bit more though. So instead of going to 105, let's say 110, okay? So it's going to scale up to 110%, and then it's going to go back down to 100%. And yeah, we get kind of a little bit of a jump effect. That's nice. And then it's going to look even better once we right-click select and easy ease these, okay? It's a little bit smoother, okay? And easy easing takes it from, and this is getting a little bit into the weeds. You don't have to do this, but these are all linear animations. It's very straight. And then once we easy ease things, you'll see that it turns it from being linear to being curved, okay? And so this peak is when it's fastest. So we start out slow, we build up speed here, okay? That's nice. So these curves are kind of showing us how fast we're going, right? And when we don't have any easing going on, everything's just very straight and linear feeling, okay? So it just is up to you. I like it when things are easy eased. So I'm going to go ahead and leave those easy eased, okay? Because it just has a nice, smoother feel to it, okay? So we have our app badge being scaled up, but now I want our character here to I want him to kind of come up and kind of be revealed out of this app badge. So I'm going to go ahead and I got to look at the pieces and parts that I need to move. So I need this black part to move. All right. I need the inner bubble to move, and then I'm going to need the eyes to move. And so what I'm going to utilize here is some parenting, right? Because I want the eyes to follow the message bubble, and then I want the message bubble to follow the outline. So if I parent if I use this tool or this kind of box here, and if you don't see this box here, come down here to the bottom left hand corner, and let's expand or collapse some of our options here until we see parent and link. And so I want the eyes to follow the white layer. So I'll parent the eyes to the white layer, and then I want the white layer to follow the black outline. I could just parent the eyes to the black outline, but I always just kind of like to think about how everything is linked up in kind of the chain of command, essentially. So now that these two layers here, our white body and our eyes, are parented to our black outline, you're going to notice that anytime I move our black outline, our eyes and our white message bubble follow. So that's good. But the problem we have now is that these are not masked on to our app badge, okay? So we need these to be kind of masked onto that. And in After Effects, masks are called mats. And so let's select our black outline layer. Let's toggle these open to make sure that we can see this section here called Track Matte. So if you don't see that, come to the bottom left-hand corner and expand or collapse the Transfer Controls pane. It's going to be this one right here. And now you're going to see Track Matte, I think. Yeah, Track Matte. And I want our black outline layer, I want it to track onto our app badge. So I'll select app badge. And what you're going to notice is that it turns our app badge layer off. And it's respecting it, right? You see how it's masked onto it, but we want to see our app badge. So it automatically turns it off. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on, okay? Over here in the left side where we have our eye icon. So what I just did is I decided that I want this little character, I want it to be masked on to the app badge. And I've only done the black outline layer, but we can do it all at once. So so now it has no matte, okay? So it doesn't, it's not respecting that. But we can select our black outline, our white layer, and our eyes all at once. And we can say, let's track matte that to the app badge. But again, our app badge shut off. We want to turn it back on, okay? And now, if we select our black outline, which is kind of our parent for all the other layers, you're going to notice everything is kind of respecting that mask or that matte. And that's good. And so I want, obviously, I want this to kind of start out not on the square, okay? So I'll set it down here, and I'll set a position keyframe for it here. And then I'll go, kind of a half second forward, and I'll just drag this up, okay? And let's see what we have so far. We have our app badge coming on, and then we have this thing coming up. Okay, that's nice. But again, I kind of want to utilize, I want this to have a little bit more life to it, right? The way he kind of comes in onto the message or onto the app badge is it's linear, okay? And you can tell it's linear because our keyframes are diamonds. Let's see what this looks like if we add easy ease. I think it's going to look a little bit more smoother, okay? Yeah, okay, that's good. But I also want to apply our overshoot look here. So I want it to, maybe I want it to go up a little bit more, okay? Maybe all the way to the top, okay? And then I ultimately want it to resolve here in the middle, okay? And so I'll select those keyframes. And if we play it right now, it's going to look very linear, okay? But let's go ahead and easy ease it and see if it makes it look any better. Yeah, I think it kind of does. It kind of has like a little stall at the top, and then it goes down. Okay, so this is nice. I really like we got it coming on, coming up, sitting. And now I think it'd be kind of cute if it blinked. Blink, blink, right? So let's go to our eyes layer, okay? And we want to adjust the scale of the eyes. But you'll notice if I just do this, it's adjusting both parameters. It's adjusting the X and the Y scale. So we can click on this and we can we should be able to separate dimensions. Oh, yes. Separate. Oh, okay. Well, usually I click on separate dimensions, but I don't know. You just do this too. So So with it, with this locked, you're adjusting both of these values. Okay. With it unlocked, now I can adjust the width, or the length of the scale, or the height of the scale. This is the one I want, right? Because we want it to look like it's blinking, right? So we just want to animate this one. And so I will set a keyframe here when they're open. All right. Let's go back to 100. Okay. And so this is kind of what it was originally. He comes down, and now I want him to blink. So I want to set a keyframe for here when they're open, and I want them to now blink, because I want them to close. Okay. We'll go like right there. And then let's go a little bit forward, and I can just copy paste this over. So we set another keyframe for it to be at 100, right? So now we got like a little blinking going on. I think it could happen faster, so I'll kind of push these a little bit closer. Okay. And then it's probably going to look better if I easy ease it, always. So I'll go ahead and easy ease. And let's see what we have so far. At badge. Okay. I think it should blink twice. So I'm going to take these keyframes. I'm going to hit Command-C. Maybe go a little bit forward. Paste them. Okay. I think that's nice. I kind of want it all to happen a little bit faster. So I'll select all the keyframes. And I can hit I can hit Alt and scale them. I can hold Alt if I select the last one, scale them. Okay, so now it's going to blink a little bit faster. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is already looking kind of cool. I think the last thing that I want to do for this animation is I want to animate this text here. And so we're about to open up Pandora's box right now. Because, so I need that text to be like it's live text. So I'll do a new text layer, and so I'll just kind of rewrite that out. Twitch, and the font I think was like TV. Yeah, Twitchy TV. Okay, so yeah, if your text is not live, you want it to be live, so maybe just remake your text. I imported our text in as a layer, so because it was just a layer and not considered text, I'm not going to have all the text editing options. So first things first, I want this to be like that color, I guess, and that looks better. And the next thing I'm going to do is get our anchor point, kind of put it in the middle, just for kind of good practices. Okay. So that's good. If I were to scale this now, it would scale correctly from the center. But I'm not going to scale it. What I'm going to use is I'm going to use our text animator tool. So if we toggle down our text layer, you're going to notice that we have this little thing over here called animate. Right? We just toggle down our text layer, just like all of our other layers. We can toggle them down and see all these other properties. If we toggle down our text layer, we can see these two properties. We see text and we see transform, but then we also see this little thing over here called animate. And this is super cool. I love this. So let's see what happens if we click on this. It gives us options. So we can animate all of these things. We can animate the anchor point, we can animate the position, the scale, the rotation, the opacity, and we can actually animate multiple of these properties. So for this Twitch logo, for this Twitch text, I want to animate the opacity of the letters. I want them to the opacity to kind of, I want each letter to be revealed, right? So go from 0 to 100% opacity. But I want them to do that individually. I want it to start at T and end at the H. So I can do that with this tool. So that's the first thing I want to do. But as they reveal themselves, I also want them to be kind of coming down from the badge, right? So like they're coming down and you're seeing them appear. Okay, so that's two things. That would be its opacity, but also its position. So I'll first select opacity because I know I want to animate the opacity. But then to this opacity animation, I'm going to add another property. I'm going to add a position property. Okay. And so its position property, I want it to start out kind of up here, all right? So we're telling it where to start, okay? But we can also tell it what its opacity to be when we start out. So I want the opacity to be 0 when it starts out, and I want the words to be up here when they start out, okay? And now is where things get complicated because we bring this down, okay, our range selector, and we can animate now the offset. That's cool, right? That's exactly what I wanted, right? And that's what we're going to be animating. We're going to be animating the offset. So, yeah, I'll set a keyframe here for the offset when it's at 0. I want it to start out at 0. And then I'll just set another one for it to be at 100. And wow, that's really powerful. And you can get into some other things. Say you can click on Advanced, okay? And I can tell it some other things here under Advanced. I can tell it to just animate the individual characters. I could do this for words so that the word, if I just select word, it's all going to just come down at once. But if we had multiple words, so I will add here. And you're going to notice now one comes down and then the next comes down. And that's because I'm animating it based on the words. But we want to animate it based on characters just because, it's just one word. And so I will delete this other word, okay? And so let's play this all through and see what we've got here. So just in a matter of very short time, I've created this logo animation. And that's pretty powerful. You could sell this to a client for, $200 or $300, and there's your money bingo thing. Anytime Sam mentions money, bingo. But yeah, I've done this. I've sold stuff like this to people for $500, and I made it in 10 minutes. So it's kind of funny. But these are the tools I used. So again, this animation thing that I just covered here, we could spend in it a whole semester on this, right? We could add even more. We could say, let's animate the tracking of this as well. So I'll have the tracking start out, they'll be really wide. Yeah. So the tracking now is animated too. I'll play it. And yeah, you'll see that the words are it's kind of shifting over from this side. Maybe I'll make the tracking even more. Maybe this is 1,000. That might look even more. Yeah. Okay, cool. So this you can get really lost in, okay? Look at this. Look how many properties and stuff is all just right here is where our text animator starts out, and you just get all this stuff. It's very complicated, okay? So because it's complicated, I will do it again and just give you guys another little rundown on it. But it's so powerful. So again, we could spend a lot of time. We could spend the whole semester on the text animator and all that stuff. But my goal is to just give you guys a little bit of taste of it, and maybe you can run with it on your own. So for this text, I want to animate its opacity, okay? And I want to animate its position. So I'll just select one of those first. It doesn't matter which one. I'll select position first this time, okay? And then I'm going to add. I'm not just going to select another animate. I'm going to add because I want these to be linked. I want to control both of these aspects with one keyframe or one property. If I select another animate, I'm going to have a whole nother offset option to animate. And so we want to, in motion graphics, we want to use the least amount of keyframes to do the most things possible. And so that's why I'm just going to add to this as opposed to animating a whole nother property. So I'm going to add our opacity property to this. Okay. So I want its opacity to start out at 0. And then I want its position to start out up here. And so that's what these two properties are telling it, the range. Okay. We also have other options, though. We can say, hey, I want this to animate based on the words, the lines, the characters excluding spaces, all these options. Okay? For this one, I just want the characters. All right? And so I'll kind of collapse this so that we can, not have a million things in our face. And what I want to focus on animating is the offset, right? Like I could animate the start and the end. So like we could animate the start and the end separately here, and get some interesting stuff going on. But what I really focus on, and I want you to focus on, is just animating this offset. So I'll set a keyframe for its offset to be at 0, and then at the start of our animation. And then I think maybe, if the words start appearing maybe right here as this animation is happening, that might be nice. So I'll have the start here, and I'll have the animation end, let's say here, 100%. And let's see what that looks like. Cool. I think that looks pretty cool. It's a little more abrupt than than the first one. And so maybe we can scale or space out the keyframes. Maybe we can right-click, select, keyframe assistant. Maybe we easy ease these and see how that looks. Probably looks a little bit smoother. I like that. And so we've created a really nice Twitch logo animation, and we've utilized very simple properties. Our scale, our height. We've delved a little bit into masks, and we've even looked at the text animator. So you can see how just a few simple kind of keyframes and simple animating a few simple properties, you can kind of put together something really nice like this. So that's going to be our first demo. And I think that this is pretty applicable to a lot of people's logo. But I also wanted to kind of go into another technique that might be useful, and that is kind of a handwritten on effect. Okay, so this is not my logo. This is something I made like 10 minutes before class, and just to kind of prove, just to kind of show this concept here. So again, starting out in Illustrator, I always start out in Illustrator, and the reason is because it's much easier to edit things and create shapes and alter those shapes here, as opposed to when we get things into After Effects and we have 20 other windows to worry about. So first things first, I'm just going to make sure that the components I want to animate are on separate layers. So I want to have this text being written on, and then I want to kind of animate this text separately. So this text is not live text. This is just a vector, okay? So that's why I did this, so it might be helpful. But so let's save our file, okay? File, save as. I'll save this as Sam C logo, okay? And I'll save it to my desktop. And I'll just kind of make sure this all looks good. Okay, yes, I'll hit save. And this is another good spot to do your kind of flight check, but I've used Illustrator a lot, and so I know. Okay, so now we need to get our logo into After Effects. So let's open up After Effects and create a new composition. I'll call this, I'll just file, new. I'll just go to new project, and I'll save this so I can use this next semester. Twitch logo. Okay. And so this one might be more fitting as a landscape. So when I hit new composition, as opposed to a square, I'm going to make this 1920 by 1080. Okay. I'm going to kind of look down here and do my flight check. Okay. Frame rate, we're working at 24 frames per second. All right, that's good. And my resolution, it's going to just kind of preview this at a third. That's nice. It'll kind of render it a lot faster, preview things faster, it'll just run smoother. And then it looks like my timeline is going to be set at 10 seconds. So that's good. Everything kind of checks out, so I'll hit OK. And next, we need to get our pieces and parts into here. So I'm going to go to File, I'm going to go to Import, I'm going to go to Import File. Okay. And I'll select this SC logo. And I want to import it as a composition because I want After Effects to respect our layers. if I didn't import it as a composition, it's just going to kind of put it in there as a JPEG, as like one solid layer. And so that's good. Composition and footage dimension, we just want it to respect its current layer size. Okay, cool. So I'll open this up, and I'm just going to grab these, Command C, and I'll go back into my original comp, Command V, okay? And you're going to notice I already messed up because these colors don't look right. These I saved them as CMYK. So I'll come back in here. I'll make sure my document is set up in RGB color mode, okay? And then I'll save this again, okay? Maybe file save, okay, save. And I'll just re-import these so that our colors look correct. And oops. Copy them, put them back into my landscape composition. Okay. And so we have a composition that's 1920 by 1080, and we have two layers. First layer is our text. I just showed you how to do the text animation, so I'll do that again. But what can somebody tell me what's wrong with this layer? It's not a text layer. Yes. So I'm just going to delete that, and I'll just make my own text layer here, and layer new text. Okay. I don't know what that text was, so I'll use Twitch. I'll make it kind of like a, I don't know. This is my logo. Okay. So, all right. Things are kind of set up good. We have live text that we can animate, and then we have this this logo that I want to kind of have written on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, shape layer, and I'm going to create that layer above our signature, okay? And then I'm going to use the pen tool, and that's what I need. And so with our pen tool selected, I am going to create a new layer. So I will come up here, I'll just layer, new, shape layer, okay? And what I want to do is I want to have this shape layer right above our text, you know, the thing that we want to make look, that's like being written on, okay? And with our pen tool, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of like crudely like make something that's just going to kind of cover up this shape. So I don't want it to have a fill, so I just want to create a stroke that kind of matches roughly our word, right? So bear with me here. V, okay, all right, and G, okay. And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of horrendously make this, okay? And then I will kind of imagine like how somebody would write this out. So like I'll keep going here, and we'll come up here to the A, and we'll go to like this, okay? And I'm trying to think. So we got to kind of think of like maybe how this would be written out. So it might be better if I bring okay, yeah, so I think it might be better if it kind of comes up here and does this circle and then comes down here. So yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of find the way this should look. Gee. And kind of imagine how I might write it out. But if I was writing in cursive. Did you guys learn how to do cursive in school? In grade school? No? Okay. And there. And there. Some people, my sister-in-law is a teacher, and she says they don't teach cursive anymore. So, utilizing all the tricks and tools and that I've learned throughout my time at CCAD, I make this. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, work. There, that's what I want. Now G. Okay. It's not working. Somebody tell me what I'm doing wrong. Add. Okay.
Maybe just the regular pen tool, not the like add.
Yeah, I know.
Could you make this line illustrator?
Yeah, I think you could. Oh, this is being weird. Okay. I think it was because I somehow made this layer end down here. Okay. And keep going. We'll get there. And I don't know, maybe it kind of like weirdly comes back up here. Comes down here, finishes this last little bit out. All right. And so what we're making here is another mask, essentially, right? And so I need this layer to kind of fully take over the layer below it, right? So we can do that just by adjusting the stroke, right? Boom. And so it's kind of covering it all up. And here's kind of where I'll come in and kind of do a little bit of fine tuning. I can tell that maybe I'll have to adjust this up here a little bit, that up here. Okay, cool. And so we're going to use a track mat to make our signature only show up where this layer is, okay? But we're going to do this thing called, we need to control this path, okay? We want to control where this path starts and ends, okay? That would be the trim. We want to be able to trim this path, okay? We want to be able to trim it from, to start here or here. We want to be able to just trim how long it is, right? That's what, that's the term, trim. I'm using it a lot, and the reason I'm using it a lot is because that's what we need to add to this. We need to come down here to our shape layer, open up its properties, and we want to add, just like we can add things to our text, we can add a trim path to this line, okay? And so you'll see once I add a trim path to this line and we open it up, we can adjust the start and the end of this line, okay? So I want the end of this line to be here. I want it to start here, okay? And then at about maybe 2.5 seconds, I'll have it completely be written on, okay? So what's that look like? Okay, nice. But now all I need to do is use our track mat, and I need to have our signature only appear where this layer is. So we need to use a mask or a track mat. So I'll come down here to my signature and I'll tell it to be track matted onto our shape layer 1. And in this case, it shuts off shape layer 1. And that is what we want, because if we come back here, you'll notice that now we get this kind of nice handwritten animation. And if we have this layer on, you're going to see it, right? But we don't want it on, right? We just want it to be revealing what's below it. So I think that this could happen a little bit faster. So I'll just kind of adjust the keyframes here. I think it needs to happen faster. Okay, good. And then finally, I'm going to use our text animator down here on the word designs. I'm going to open up our properties, and I'm going to select animate. And I want to animate the opacity, okay? I want each letter to kind of appear on. And then, yeah, I'll just kind of do that for now, but I'll show you guys some of the advanced things you can do. Mode, what is it? Random percentage square. You can add like some randomness to this. Yeah, randomize order on. Okay. And so now I can animate the offset, because that's what we want to animate. We want it to start at, we want the opacity to start at 0. Okay. And then we want to animate the offset. Okay. And the offset is going to start at 0. I set a keyframe for it here at 0 at 0 seconds, and then I'm going to set it 100 here. And so we're going to notice now, because I selected random order, which is here under advanced, and we just get a million options here, these letters are going to appear in kind of a random order. So that's nice. And so, like I said, this text animator tool is like opening up Pandora's box, because there's just so much you can do with it. And so I definitely encourage you guys to get in there and mess around with it. The main thing we're going to want to be animating, just to keep stuff simple starting out, is the offset. So when you see that offset property, that's going to be what we animate.